Grab a barbell and put bumper plates either side to lift the barbell up high enough to perform the hip thrust. Grab a barbell pad or a yoga mat to provide padding. Pop your back up against a box that's 30 to 35 centimeters high or 12 to 14 inches high. Have the edge of the box just underneath your shoulder blade. Once in position, roll the barbell up onto your hips, making sure the middle of the barbell is in the middle of your body. From there, bend your knees up. You want to bend your knees up far enough that when your back is rested up against the box and you put your hands on the front of your shins, the tips of your fingers go just past the inside of your shin bone. Getting your hands to the inside of your shin like this is a great reference point because at the top of a hip thrust we want our knees roughly at 90 degrees. One thing to note, when you bend your knees you'll naturally slide down the box slightly. Make sure before you start performing reps that the edge of the box is still just underneath your shoulder blade. Once you're in position, put your hands on the barbell either side for stability. Look directly forwards, then from there drive your feet and heels into the ground to perform the hip thrust. We want to maintain a chin tuck position at the top of the hip thrust. So we're looking directly forwards the whole time. You'll notice that my knees are at 90 degrees at the top of range. When I get to the top here, I'm squeezing my bottom really hard at the top, making sure that we're coming all the way up, not sagging down like that. Foot position is crucial with a hip thrust. You can have your feet anywhere from directly straight to 30 degrees turned out. You can have your feet wider, you can have your feet closer. Perform the reps in whatever position you feel most in the glutes. Another thing to note, where your feet are in relation to your bottom will have an effect on where you feel it. If you go too far away from your bottom, you'll feel it more in your hamstrings. If you come too close to your bottom, you'll feel it more in your quads. There are two ways to perform hip thrusts. After each rep, you can put the weight plate down back on the ground and then perform another rep. So you get a little break in between each rep. Another way is a constant tension hip thrust, where you're not putting the weight plate down on the ground each rep. You won't be able to lift as much weight with constant tension hip thrust, but you'll get a slightly bigger burn through your glutes. To up the ante with your hip thrusts, you can add a glute loop around your knees to increase the amount of activation through your glutes. The same technique cues apply, except you just drag out against the band the whole time while you're performing reps. Some commercial gyms won't have a 30 to 35 centimeter box for you to perform hip thrusts on. If that's the case, you might need to use a bench that's slightly too high to perform them. If that's the case, you need to shimmy yourself up so the edge of the bench is just underneath your shoulder blade. Then from there, you're performing the reps. You'll notice here you won't be able to put the weight plates on the ground when you're doing this, so it's more of a constant tension hip thrust. The same technique cues apply. If you're using a higher bench at a commercial gym and you don't want to perform constant tension hip thrusts, you need to put something underneath both bumper plates, such as weight plates or a small box, so you can put the weight plates down after each rep.